This story begins at a Halloween party where a guy named Eric is encouraged by his friends to finally work up the nerve to talk to Ava, the girl he likes. Eric, gathering his courage, approaches her and they start talking. However, just then, another guy named Connor pulls up in a sports car, capturing all of Ava's attention. She leaves Eric alone to go greet the newcomer. Eric's friend mocks him, asking how he thought he could compete with someone like that. Disappointed, Eric walks away from the group, saying he needs to use the bathroom. He wanders into the woods alone and, while lamenting, discovers a mysterious wooden box among the trees. As he gets closer, the box opens on its own, and a sinister figure emerges from inside, the Jester. Eric, thinking it's just another guest in costume, asks if he's part of Connor's surprises. The Jester doesn't respond. He simply removes his mask to reveal that his face underneath is identical to it. Then he pulls out a candle and lights it with a snap of his fingers. The Jester follows Eric back to the party and, in front of everyone, throws a red cloth over Eric, making him disappear. The guests panic, and seconds later, they discover Eric's body, hanged by a rope from a nearby tree. As everyone screams, the Jester simply laughs and walks away. The Jester begins to walk through the city and finds his next target, a man walking alone. He approaches him and offers to do a card trick. The frightened man tries to run away, begging to be left alone, but the Jester catches him. He shoves a handkerchief into the man's mouth and begins to pull an endless chain of colorful handkerchiefs from his throat. At the end of the cloth chain, he pulls out the card the man had chosen, killing him in the process. Once the man falls, the Jester uses his candle to burn the card. Elsewhere, we meet Max, a teenager dressed in a full magician's costume. Her younger sister Zoe, dressed as a ninja, finds her just as Max is explaining that she planned to go trick-or-treating with them. At that moment, their mother arrives, in a hurry to take Zoe to a party. The mother tells Max, somewhat pityingly, that she's too old to go trick-or-treating and suggests she hang out with her own friends or watch horror movies at home instead. Zoe adds that Max doesn't really have any friends. The mother and Zoe leave, leaving Max alone and sad. Max decides to go out anyway and takes her bicycle, heading to a local diner. The waiter serving her turns out to be Darren, an old classmate from Westwood High. He recognizes her as the quiet girl who was always alone and is surprised that she was in an advanced class at only 15. Max, uncomfortable, just orders a hamburger. While she waits, some girls at another table make fun of her costume. Suddenly, the Jester appears out of nowhere and sits down across from her, offering a card trick. Max watches the trick and immediately figures out how it was done, explaining that the supposedly guest card was the only one upside down in the deck. She impresses the Jester by pointing out that the real skill was doing it so quickly while wearing gloves. Feeling comfortable, Max introduces herself and offers to show him a trick, performing a complex card routine. This astonishes the Jester so much that he decides to leave. Later, 3 young people find the Jester apparently asleep on a bench and decide to mess with him. The Jester wakes up and offers them a card trick. He fails to guess the card twice in a row. The teens mock him, assuming he's drunk, and walk away. Just as they turn their backs, the Jester pulls out a knife and attacks, killing the 2 guys. Although the girl manages to escape, the Jester tries to burn his victim's card as he did before, but this time, his candle flame fails to light the paper. After leaving the diner, Max discovers that the guys who had mocked her slashed her bike tire. Disappointed, she takes her bike to a magic shop to visit her mentor, Willie. Willie notices she's discouraged and knows it's about more than just the tire. Max confesses that she feels frustrated because she doesn't fit in and the kids at school bother her. Willie comforts her, hands her a magic wand, and reminds her that she is extraordinary. To prove her point, Max reveals she managed to lift the key to a pair of trick handcuffs from his pocket without him noticing. Feeling a little better, Max leaves the shop, but in the alley, she runs into the Jester again. He notices she's missing her hat, so he takes off his own and places it on Max's head. The Jester, now with Max by his side, heads toward the group of guys who had bothered her. He approaches the one who slashed her tire and with a magical gesture, pulls his pants down in front of everyone, causing the boy to run off, completely embarrassed. The Jester returns to Max, hands her the magic wand she had left at Willie's shop, and gestures for her to join him in trick-or-treating. Max hesitates, saying she's too old for it, but at the mute stalker's insistence, she finally agrees to go with him. They both arrive at a house where a kind woman greets them. The Jester encourages Max to show her a magic trick. Max, a bit more confident, pulls out her deck and asks the woman to tell her when to stop as she riffles through the cards. The woman participates, picks a card, and Max successfully performs the trick, impressing her. The woman congratulates her and says she's earned her candy. However, as she looks for the candy, the jester steps forward and touches the woman with the wand. Instantly, the woman's face freezes, lifeless, and she falls to the ground. Max is horrified watching her die and runs off in terror. Behind her, the jester approaches the woman's body and this time successfully burns the victim's card with his candle flame. Max runs down the street trying to escape, but the jester quickly catches up to her on his bicycle. Desperate, she jumps off her bike and runs toward a man walking with his young son, asking for help and screaming that a man is chasing her. As the man tries to calm her down, the jester appears and shoves the child to the ground. The distracted father rushes to help his son. In that precise moment of confusion, the jester snatches Max's inhaler and disappears. Max keeps running, but her asthma kicks in, and she starts struggling to breathe. She tries to hide in a large trash bag, but her gasping gives her away. The jester appears in front of her, hands back the inhaler, and before she can react, magically transports her back to the park, where it all began. Max is terrified to see Eric's body still hanging from the tree. She tries to run away again, but discovers she's trapped. Every time she runs in one direction, she reappears in the same spot. The jester has locked her in with his magic. Max demands that he tell her what's going on and if she is dead. As the jester remains silent, Max finds an Ouija board on the ground and insists he use it to communicate. She asks if he is going to kill her, and the jester moves the planchette to no. Frustrated, she asks what he wants from her. He spells out, "I need you." Max asks why, and the answer is, "You are like me." Max denies it, terrified. Suddenly, Eric's body begins to move, and a deep voice emerges from it. It's the jester, finally speaking. He explains that he, like her, was a misunderstood artist, marginalized by everyone. One day, an entity called the Great Deceiver, Death, came for his soul. To save himself, the jester offered a deal, his soul in exchange for a magic trick. Death accepted, but upon being tricked, imposed a terrible condition. Every Halloween night, the jester must trick 4 souls using his magic and send them to death. He must do all this before a magic candle burns out completely. Max understands the macabre task. He must perform a trick for 4 people before killing them. But she doesn't understand what she has to do with any of it. The jester explains that the rules changed when she met him at the diner. Max unknowingly performed a magic trick and tricked him, the jester. And since she managed to trick the one who tricked Death, the curse now includes her. The jester reveals he can no longer perform the tricks. Now she is the one who must perform the magic for the victims. Only when she completes a trick for an observer will the offering be accepted, allowing him to kill them. Max flatly refuses, but the jester shows her a vision of what will happen to him if he fails. He will turn to ash. He warns her that if he fails, the curse and his fate of eternal suffering will pass to her. While the jester is talking, Max, desperate, takes advantage of his distraction and, with a quick movement, steals the cell phone from the pocket of Eric's corpse. Trapped and with no options, Max agrees to help the jester, and he guides her to her first required victim. They head to the park where they find the same guy who had slashed Max's tire. She approaches him, sitting alone on a bench, and offers to show him a magic trick. The guy, visibly remorseful, uses the moment to sincerely apologize for the bicycle, confessing he was just trying to impress some girls and feels stupid about it. The boy's words touch Max, who tells him he shouldn't feel that way. Her determination wavers, and she hesitates to complete the trick. The boy, however, wanting to play along, looks for the card he had chosen and pulls it out of Max's pocket himself, completing the trick without her having to. In that instant, the jester appears behind them. Max, desperate, begs him to leave the boy alone, yelling that she changed her mind and they'll find someone else. But the jester, furious at Max's indecision, tells her she ruined his night and now he will ruin the boy's. Ignoring Max's screams, the jester brutally attacks the young man and murders him. While Max is in shock, she takes advantage of the jester's distraction to use Eric's stolen phone and discreetly dial 911. Shortly after, while walking down a deserted street, a police cruiser intercepts them. responding to the call about suspicious activity. An officer asks if they have seen anything strange or if they have a phone. The Jester denies having one, but Max remains silent. The officer asks the Jester to remove his mask. When he refuses and grabs the cop, the officer tries to arrest him, but the Jester uses his powers to break free and kill the cop with his own handcuffs. The officer's partner tries to shoot him, but the Jester is faster and murders her too. In the midst of the chaos, Max manages to escape. She flees down the street until she sees a man getting into his car and begs him for help, claiming she was kidnapped and the police were attacked. The man, feigning concern, lets her into his vehicle and assures her he'll take her to the police station. However, during the ride, the man starts asking uncomfortable questions about her boy magician costume and why she doesn't dress more femininely. He stops the car in a secluded spot and, with sinister intentions, tells her he won't hurt her as he moves closer. Just as he's about to attack her, the Jester appears inside the car and kills the man. Max gets out of the car but suffers another asthma attack. The Jester, seeing she can't breathe, carries her and quickly takes her to a nearby fire station. The paramedics treat her immediately, but while they are saving her life, the Jester begins killing them one by one. Max, recovered, flees and hides under a fire truck, but the Jester finds her. She confronts him, telling him she's not afraid of him anymore and that he can't force her to do the tricks. She tells him she accepts her fate, even if it means he will suffer the same fate. Max manages to escape and runs desperately until she reaches her house. She finds her mother waiting there, who, instead of greeting her with relief, is furious and scolds her for being so late, grounding her. Max, overwhelmed by the fear of never seeing her again, simply hugs her and says she loves her. Her mother, not understanding the situation, sends her to her room. Max goes upstairs and first enters her sister Zoe's room. She sees her sleeping and says goodbye with a kiss, whispering, "Goodbye, Zoe." When she turns around, she sees the Jester's candle lit and the Jester himself in the room. Max screams in horror, calling for her mom, but the Jester's voice emerges from her mother's body, who appears in the doorway. The Jester reveals her mother was already dead when she arrived, and he has been speaking through her. The Jester threatens to kill Zoe in the same way. The candle is almost burning out. Only one victim remains. Max, broken and with no options, agrees to finish the task to save her sister. The Jester takes her to his final target, Darren, the waiter from the diner. Max approaches him and offers to do one last magic trick. Darren agrees and picks a card. Max then turns to the Jester and recites the rules he himself taught her. The trick must be performed for an observer, and only then will the offering be accepted. She declares that 4 tricks require 4 souls. With a defiant look, she tells the Jester that the missing soul is his. In that precise instant, the candle goes out. The Jester realizes the trick and, in a final act of fury, attacks Max and stabs her in the leg. But it's too late. His body begins to burn and disintegrate. Max, wounded on the ground, grabs her magic wand and shoves it directly into his eye, destroying him completely. The Jester is consumed in flames until he vanishes. Shortly after, the police and Willie, Max's mentor, arrive at the scene. Willie rushes to help Max, who is on the ground in a state of shock. He asks her what happened, and Max, with a vacant stare, can only reply that she finally got the trick right. The movie ends as she repeats the curse that now belongs to her. 4 tricks, 4 souls, every year.